Hello, my name's Paul. I'm 61 years of age. I've come through as a service user through the Lymebrook Centre. Basically, I've been traumatized since the age of 6.5. But when I resorted to seeking help because it was adversely affecting me, I couldn't open up about it. I didn't feel able to open up about it. I thought it was my dark secret, and as long as it was my dark secret, the world didn't need to know. So when I attended Lymebrook, I was being treated for anxiety and depression because that's what I was saying I was. I started to see a psychiatrist who obviously started me on medication to deal with my anxiety and depression, and then went for a long time changing medication, none of which I found really helped. But I was on the understanding that there was measure to get me in a stable position so that I could progress with any treatment that I needed to get, because I wouldn't have been open to anything at that period of time. I suffered lymphoma cancer in 2016, which left me with an compromised immune system. So when COVID came along, I was isolated, and I was isolated for 18 months. And that's when I started overthinking and remembering the past and trying to work out what things were, and without really trying to seek any help for that. I did resort to drinking at times when I couldn't sleep. It was my only way I could escape, but it was not the right thing to do. It was causing distress to my family, seeing me so distressed. But I still didn't feel like I could tell anyone. So in 2021 I packed my job in and moved down to my daughter's in Devon, just so basically to give the family a break, and it was a more suitable setting for me to get recovery. My mental health deteriorated to such an extent that I did try to take my own life, and I was sectioned to a place called the Cedars in Exeter. I was there for 4 weeks on a voluntary section. I received counselling every day, as well as therapy, and I also saw a psychologist every 2 days for the duration of that period. I did feel that I formed a close enough relationship with a psychologist that I could open up about my trauma for the first time. As I got better, I was under pressure to come home, so I did. I went home, probably a little bit too early really, and there was a sign back to the Lymebrook Health Centre. And then the real road for recovery for me is I met a wonderful therapist called Danielle, who explained all the brain processes that were wrong in me, the triggers. We developed coping strategies, I developed my mindfulness training, a diary, and I still diary today, which is great, and planning my week ahead so I can get some focus during the days that I am suffering. So the next step at the end of that, which we talked about for many months, was putting some structure into my life. Because basically I think if I'd just gone back home and just retired and stayed at home, I would have gone down that rabbit hole again. So she referred me to Step On, where I met my ES worker Chris. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I wanted to put some, even if it was on a voluntary basis, some work back into people who experience difficulties with their mental health. He suggested I apply to the Step On team to be a peer support worker and get paid for it, which seemed quite a reasonable option. The compassion that you show by members of staff, whether it's people who are just walking past you, or it was an eye-opener to me, because I'm not saying I wanted empathy, but I wanted people to recognise that I'm poorly and I needed help, and they did it in such a sympathetic way. So everyone I came in touch with, even if it was from a receptionist to the psychiatrist, I can only commend how they treated me and made me feel human, and because you do have a lack of faith in yourself during these dark periods. And it was therapeutic, I think. The next thing I would briefly mention is I don't feel I've ever had any joy with the crisis team. I've phoned them on 3 occasions and basically very little conversation, very little feedback from them. I think it's just have a bath and phone the doctors in the morning, which is basically what I did on the 3 times that I engaged with them. I know from other service users they experience the same thing. And the final thing, the comparison between the treatment I received in Devon and the Cedars in Devon to the treatment I got in the Harplands was totally contrasting. I found the Cedars very pleasant, very quiet. There was a lot of therapy offered, a lot of group sessions, whereas when I was sectioned in the Harplands, well, I'll be totally honest, I was terrified for the whole period I was in there. I never got to speak to anyone. I was basically medicated until I asked to go home because I was on a voluntary section, and that's what happened. And I don't feel it did me any benefit at all. The staff did come and sit with us, and I assume they were doing some sort of assessments at the time, and they were talking to us and watching telly with us, I don't know. But I had very little engagement with us. I think there should be some, and I presume there must be counselling, it's just that we were never offered any. And I will say something that I thought was quite distressing, and that is, on the day I was leaving, I did approach a member of the staff and say, do you know one of the patients who's been released at weekend is bringing monkey dust back into the ward? And the reply was, yeah, we know, but there's nothing we can do about it. Well, to me and the 3 old men who were there, it was a terrifying experience. And when you see all around the ward, no drugs, no, you will be searched, you will be this, and then they were just allowing it. He was a very difficult lad, this lad was, and maybe it was easier to just, but it wasn't easy for the rest of us. Well, I think all the rules are in place. They just need to be enforced. You know, people are difficult, and I don't envy the job in there. But for the sake of keeping one bloke happy, there was 4 of us who were terrified, and we were not going to get better in the Harplands. Yeah, I think one of the main issues is, again, when I've talked to other service users, you come in, you see the psychiatrist, you think the psychiatrist is going to solve all your problems, but it just feels like they medicate you. And I know that's not the case, having worked within Lymebrook now. But that isn't explained to you, and you get to the point, you feel, well, what's the point of going there? Because obviously he can't recommend you to his next signpost until you're stable. And a better understanding of the expectations and when you're going to be seen, and possibly more updates, because it was 18 months before I got to see anyone. I would say once you get care that you need, it's brilliant. It's just that there's obviously restraints, finances and staffing, and you have to be patient, but when you're poorly, it's not easy to be patient, because you want a quick fix, and that's never going to happen. You know. Although you're distressed, you need, as a service user, you do need to remember that everyone involved is there to help you. They're not judgmental. They'll do whatever they can with resources that they've got, and just engage with them as well as you can. There's no point abusing the staff or being aggressive, and no matter how you feel, they're not there to hurt you. There's no quick fix on this journey, no matter what your trauma is or your mental health state. And you have to engage, and you have to put the effort in when it's been provided, when the service has been provided. Also, I don't know what it's said, I think it may well be said, don't attend these appointments on your own, because I know I wouldn't have been capable of driving, having left my initial probably 3 months worth of therapy. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you, and I wouldn't be working. And I'd probably be still causing chaos at home because I haven't dealt with my issues. I don't always think that a sometimes regret opening up, but I get reminded, quite rightly so, by my family that you're where you are. They've got the dad back, and yeah, there's only way. If I hadn't sought help, there's only one end result on that one. So yeah, I'm glad of the treatment of that.